And starting again. And yes, we are started again. Okay. All right. So, last week's episode 2 Loki variant. Were you pleased with it?
Yeah, actually, it started to make a little bit more sense of what was going on.
You know, WandaVision kind of worked in the same way where it was all like a little bit like the first couple episodes were confusing and then it kind of got into a groove and started making more sense. So I was happy with it. I've already watched the third one, so but I'm not gonna say anything. So episode 2, the variant. It opens on a medieval fair.
Is that cool or what?
Yes, in
Oh,
1985.
yeah, one of those guys though that they had in that, I swear to God, he comes to Hogtown.
Maybe. A lot of those people at Hogtown travel around all of the states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to like look at people's clothes. So for anybody who's not doesn't actually know us, we're part of the SCA or Medieval Reenactment Group. So we go to medieval fairs and stuff. And the Minutemen show up, and a medieval dressed woman says they aren't dressed right. And I like laughed at this because I'm like, if she's worked medieval fairs for any period of time, you're gonna get like you're gonna be okay because there's always gonna be uh people in different kind of costumes that aren't medieval. At our medieval fair we have like the furries, we have Doctor Who's, we have like cyberpunk people. So yeah, I was like, that's not real life. She would be fine with it. It would be normal.
Unless it's before the fair opens and you're supposed to be dressed.
No, I think the fair's already open because I think at there was like the stocks in the back, and there was a guy in like a t-shirt and a jacket. So
Okay.
I think there's already customers on site. So
But one of those things was some of us need this,
this,
know.
I know. I felt like that was a very SCA thing to say. Some of us need this. So the Loki variant mind controls Hunter C-20 to help take down the other Minutemen and steals more charges. And their little TemPad, which has tabs. The tabs of our time door, miss minutes, settings, and directory, with an action list of select program, options, run program, and clear cache. And the specific date on it was 4/12/1985. Like that matters. And a bunch of numbers, which also I have no idea what they mean. And opens the time door and takes C-20 with her. So why would like I feel like Miss Minutes is their like Mr. Paperclip maybe. I'm just wondering why she'd be on their phones. Like cuz they're not people. I mean, I guess everyone always need to be propagandized to stay brainwashed. I don't know. I just thought it was weird that she was on their phone as a selection. Like you could select Miss Minutes to talk to her. And then it cuts back to Loki at Mobius's desk in the TVA, and he's being quizzed by Miss Minutes while looking at a jet ski magazine owned by Mobius. Mobius says a team has gone missing and that it was after the variant, and Loki is needed to catch him. They go to different. They go over different variants of Loki, which was like a frost giant, a biker, not like a cool biker, like an actual bicycle rider guy.
Right.
Like a Hulk Loki, a Thor Loki, and like a green one. Loki explains the difference between illusion casting and duplication casting. And Mobius is like, okay, and me and Professor Loki are together. I found that hilarious when he called him Professor Loki. Like, that's this new variant's name is Professor Loki.
This is the original Loki.
It's the original Loki variant. So it's not the Loki we know from the movies. Well, he is the Loki we know from the movies up to the Avengers, and then he's not the Loki we know anymore. So Mobius explains that they have to go into the branches in real time because they destabilize the timeline, as for the reason that they can't just appear whenever the variant Loki does. So that's their trying to get around time travel rules. Loki explains that the reset charges prune branches by disintegrating everything. So now we know for sure that it kills everything when they set off those charges. While looking at the crime scene, Loki acts like he knows what the variant is planning, but Mobius catches on that he's talking a bunch of crap, and they reset the timeline as it's getting close to redlining. So Mobius has to meet with Renslayer, who gives him one last chance with this Loki variant. And Mobius seems jealous of another agent that Renslayer uses and points out an FDR high school pen, which I looked up, and FDR high school isn't mentioned in any of the Marvel comics. So I don't know what that reference is. I was thinking maybe it was like Spider-Man's school or something, but it's not.
That would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt High School.
Yeah. So what I looked up, FDR is in some of the comics. Like, I think he's in a Captain America comic. So like he does exist in the Marvel universe, but no character has ever gone to that high school. So it's just weird.
It's in the comic book.
What is? The high school?
Yes.
Which comic book?
It's in the Marvel fan. It's part of the Marvel fandom.
Like the
Earth.
Wikipedia?
Hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm just looking it up.
Oh, okay.
They got a wiki for it.
Yeah.
Where's this? All right.
But everyone seems to think that Renslayer's other agent, or who Mobius is jealous of, is going to be Kang the Conqueror. And that maybe he's one of the timekeepers, because I guess Kang the Conqueror is going to show up. He's already been cast, and he's going to be in a future movie, either Spider-Man or Ant-Man. So they're thinking it may be Kang the Conqueror, which I know nothing about. We haven't. Well, I know a little bit about. I watched a YouTube video about King the Conqueror, and that's all I know about it. He's got kind of a confusing storyline, but I think all Marvel characters have a confusing storyline. That's a rule that they have to. Did you find anything about the high school?
No.
No. Yeah.
There's one in New York City.
Which would make sense if Peter Parker went there, but he doesn't.
Well, it may just be because it was
an alternate timeline in which he went there.
Yeah. I don't know if they got one somewhere else. There's one in Hyde Park, New York. There's one in New York City.
I'm assuming any of the other multiverses Spider-Man they would have mentioned if they went to one.
But it makes sense that it's that Hyde Park, New York, is New York City. Hyde Park is in New York City, right?
Maybe.
Well, because the comics are written based on
most of them are in New York, I think.
Yeah, so that kind of makes sense that
We'll see if it shows up or if it's a pointless Easter egg for no reason whatsoever except to drive us crazy. Mobius puts Loki to work looking for the next clue as to where the variant will show up, and he asks the librarian lady for the creation of the TVA records, the beginning of time and the end of time, which are all classified, and the only records he is able to get are the variance records. He looks up the destruction of Asgard and realizes the apocalypse have 0 variance energy, and that is where the variant must be hiding in an apocalypse. He explains this to Mobius by ruining his salad. And it
was so funny, him sitting there with the salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah. I wonder how many times they had to film that scene, and he's just shaking salt and pepper shakers for like an hour on set. Uh, they visit Pompeii and Loki releases goats, proving that no variance was detected, since right after that, everything ended. And Mobius and Loki have a talk about why Mobius believes in the TVA, and that the timekeepers are still unraveling the future to come for peace at the end of time, which Loki calls boring. Yeah, because... Yeah, let's not think too hard about that. There is an end of time, and how far is it, and how many things would they have to unravel? Like, it would be almost like to infinity, right? I don't know. Like, they would always be doing it.
One of the reasons I don't like time travels, because when you start messing with it, it's just like, it just get into circular logics. You're just going round and round and round and round. And
yeah. Mobius remembers the gum, and that puts a time frame on which the apocalypse they're looking for takes place, and it's Alabama 2050, a class 10 apocalypse, which Ragnarok was a class 7. So I'm assuming a class 1 is the worst. And like as the number gets higher, it gets less worse. Because Ragnarok took out an entire planet? I think it was like the whole planet, right?
it just wiped out the civilization.
Whereas
Ragnarok didn't destroy the planet, did it?
Well, I don't think their planet's very big. I think it's like... It's mostly just a city. I don't know. But you gotta figure that taking out a city in Alabama would be less apocalyptic than destroying
an entire planet.
Yeah.
Did he destroy the planet or just the people on it?
Ragnarok was... I mean, it was serious destruction, Ragnarok. It said there was casualties of 9,000 people. I don't know how many people are in Alabama. Well, maybe there's more people in Alabama in the 2050s. I don't know. It seems to me like Ragnarok would be a bigger disaster than Alabama. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see some other apocalyptics related to classes to know which way the scale goes.
Yeah, I'd like to see that scale.
Yeah. Because even, like, Ragnarok was a pretty big thing and it's class 7, but probably, like, if Dormammu won in Doctor Strange, that would probably be, like, the highest one. Because he was going to destroy all of reality, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like that would be the highest one. So, like, what class is that one? Is it a class 1 or is it a class, like, 20? Renslayer approves a mission, and they go to Roxcart Superstore, which supposedly Roxcon is in the comics and is like a, mega corporation. So it's like, it's a nod to the comics that we don't know anything about because we haven't read those. And they go to hunt down the variant. The Loki they're hunting uses enchantment to possess a customer shopping for azaleas in a hurricane sale because they're 50% off. And possesses Hunter B-15 and talks to Loki. And then possesses Randy, some poor customer service person. Like, they don't have it hard enough. And says they don't want to be called Loki. And they don't want to help Loki overthrow the timekeepers. They want to destroy everything. So Mobius finds C20 in the office, who is repeating that it's real, it was real, and that she wants to go home. And one of the hunters says she's off the dial, which I don't know if this is just slang for, like, losing your mind or if it's something specific. But the way she says home, I'm thinking she does not mean the TVA. Like, what's real?
Right.
She says she gave away how to find the timekeepers to Loki.
I didn't think they knew how to do that.
Yeah, see, she's like a hunter, and I feel like she's less of a hunter than B-15. So why would she know anything about, like, the head of the whole TVA? Like,
How to get to the timekeepers when Mobius doesn't know how to get to them.
yeah. It seems weird that I don't think that makes sense that she would know anything about how to contact the timekeepers or anything. So Loki has a vacuum fight with another enchanted person. They had a Roomba, then like a regular vacuum with a hose. And Loki finally reveals herself, and it's a girl. And releases all her charged bombs to the sacred timeline. And I wrote down all of the names of the cities and dates from the bombing. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, could you see that in the background or something?
Yeah, 18. So there's 18. It was on Renslayer's computer. And it listed a whole bunch. I did not have time to look up any of these dates or anything. But there's Lisbon, Portugal, March 31st, 1492. So does that have to do with Columbus?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Rome, Italy in 1390. I don't know anything about that.
That might have been to do with the plague.
Let's see. There was Finland in 1708. I don't know anything happened in Finland. New York in 1947.
That was after World War II.
There was Tokyo in 1984. That's my birth year. But I don't know what was happening in Tokyo.
Yeah, I don't remember anything big in Tokyo in 1984.
Yeah, and then Beijing in 2005. So those are all like the Earth ones in our time periods, and then there was like a lot of other dates and planets. Like it lists Ego, who's the father of the Time Lord, who's his own planet. So Ego planet had something happen. It lists Sakaar, which is the trash planet in Ragnarok. It lists Asgard in 2004, which is before anything that we know happened in Asgard. So, and so that's where it ends, with the timeline being bombed.
Oh, so the timeline is using the Western European system of
of
making dates, with everything related to back to the birth of Christ.
Yes. For other planets like Ego and Titan, and I'm sure they use Earth time.
That makes total sense to me.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but it was in this episode, so I'm not going to say that. It's weird. Maybe because the TVA exists on Earth, and so they just use that time.
Maybe the TVA came out of 1960s Earth, which would explain a lot.
Yes.
The computer designs, I'm looking at that and I'm going, boy, that's very 1960s right there. The design.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you noticed or not, but like so the files they use are very government, old style U.S. government, from the 60s and 70s, the way they used to look. And and the papers were done with a manual typewriter.
Yeah.
That typeface, it looks like it was actually typed.
Yeah.
Whoever did it, they got a typewriter and typed it, because some of that, the bleeding of the ink and stuff, you can't get that with a laser printer.
Yeah, so like, what if it came out of the 1950s and the TVA is really just Marvel writing comics?
That's right.
They're in
I
control
just
of all the timelines.
I thought it was interesting though that so this is supposed to be like high tech and you're keeping track of the timeline and everything like that, and yet you're using technology and aesthetic from the 1960s.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
papers look like from the 60s. I mean, it's like
I wonder um if it's not just like an aesthetic choice for the show, if it's like maybe they have to use it because in the quantum realm more um advanced technology doesn't work right. Like maybe it has to be like basic technology and that's why everything looks like that.
now there's a thought.
Yeah.
Because those original computers were very basic. And
Right.
that's not other thing too. Why are you looking in paper files? Why isn't that stuff all in a computer? Why don't you have a computer
because
terminal?
they don't
What?
have the servers. Servers are too advanced. They can't hold all that data, so they have to like type it and print it and hold it in the
But you
physical
have the
form.
technology to jump around on the timeline. You don't have the technology to store all your files.
You know what I have to say in this episode too was that you have bombs that destroy timelines and they're strapped to the outside of their backpacks. Like you think something that can destroy reality, maybe keep it inside your backpack so nobody can just like grab it or it accidentally falls off. Like, why is it strapped to the outside of your backpack?
Whoopsie.
Oh, darn, I lost a reset charge in that daycare. Hope nothing happens. Yeah. So I like this episode.
Yeah, some of the, like I said, I got kind of hung up on the set dressing, the set decorations and stuff.
Yeah. I
That
got
whole
I got hung up at the medieval fair. I had to look at everybody's
aesthetic.
clothes to see how accurate they looked for medieval fair goer clothing.
Yeah, there's that one guy who he plays like a bum or whatever, and I've seen it. I swear I've seen him at Hogtown. He's
You're not talking about the big guy with the teeth in the show, are you?
I think so.
Was it that guy? Because that was weird to me. So they showed him. He's like kind of like a wanderer looking thing, but he had like tusks or something. Which, okay, it's a Renaissance festival. It's a medieval fair. You shouldn't have magical creatures. I understand that they exist at medieval fairs, but that other lady was mad that they came dressed as like RoboCops. So like if she's mad that they came dressed as RoboCops, how does she feel about magical creatures?
Who's at the medieval
So
fair?
is that
right.
guy not part of the medieval fair, and is he some magical creature that's like doing something with the variants or the timeline? I don't know. I thought it was weird because they showed him for a large bit of it, but you know, maybe if he's just a character actor, he looked really nice. They wanted him on film. But yeah, I had a little bit of a problem with him just because he had tusks or whatever. He had big teeth.
Right. I was trying to see if I can. So you're a variant. It's one of the books. So you're a variant.
I looked at
Yes.
the librarian was typing things into the computer when he was asking for files. It was really hard to read, but the middle, it was listing people's names, whether they were female or male, a date of birth, and then the middle one said something about got the Tesseract and opened a portal, and like that's all I could read. So like I was trying to figure out what she was entering into the computer, like some kind of records on something. But I couldn't read it all. It's all fuzzy. I don't have CSI enhanced skills.
Yeah. Where was the... Oh, here, wait, here, there we go. Right there. I get it on my tablet. See if I can pull him up. There he is. This guy. Can you see?
Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. He's got like tusks or something, right?
Yeah, I swear to God he comes to Hogtown.
He might. Like, a lot of those people are like
Yeah, I know
actors
he's...
and stuff and do other stuff. So.
Yeah. I wonder where they filmed it. I wonder if they filmed that up in
You know what? They have Georgia at the end of the credits. Like,
I'm thinking they may have shot it up there.
yeah,
Urban Fair.
yeah. I don't know where they're shooting it exactly, but they always have like a Thank Georgia, but they also have other locations listed. So, but since the Georgia's the first one, I imagine they're maybe doing most of their shooting in Georgia. I don't know. If they are, we have to like drive to Georgia for the second season of Loki and try to get put in as extras. Because they've already approved a second season of Loki. So.
Well, use your Google food to figure out where they're filming it at.
Yeah, I will, definitely.
How do you get to be an extra on Loki?
Do another medieval fair scene. We already have the clothes. We can do it.
5,000, there's probably 10,000 people wanting to be, They kind of lock that information down, so...
I don't know. I got to audition as an extra for the Kenneth Branagh movie Warm Springs. We went up to Warm Springs, Georgia. Oh. And I didn't get it, but I got...
When was that?
That was when I was like... I probably was just out of high school or like a senior in high school. Yeah. So I found out they were doing auditions for extras at Warm Springs, so we drove up there and I auditioned.
Well, in Los Angeles, you used to be able to get a list of who was filming where, and you could just show up and, get picked to be an extra that way. Yeah. That was a way to get to be picked an extra. But after 9/11, they stopped putting that list out.
Oh. I'm sure with Reddit we can find it. Go be an extra.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, so next week we will do Doctor Strange number 3 and Loki number 3.
3.
Yeah. And I'll watch it again and again.
You got all the details.
I know, I'm keeping my mouth shut about episode 3 till you watch it.
I was doing good to just get done for today.
Yeah. No, because it's there all day, and so Matt gets home, and I'm like, okay, let's watch Loki number 3. Right now.
Well, you've had a busy day. You watched Loki number 3, and then we went to officer meeting, and then you went and do this. And
I got my allergy shots today.